Hi, this is a video, and really it's thanks to one of our clients who's done a nice bit of work, and I just want to kind of scale that effort. So we're going to be talking about reproducibility in, when I say source of irreproducibility, I am talking about the FoodSens Generation 4, which can be used to measure a number of analytes. Primarily it's used for Scoville Heat Units, it's also used for gingerol, and it's also used for caffeine. With that said, let me jump forward and say we're going to talk today about a source of error or irreproducibility, and something that we'll address it. We've also changed the instructions for use just this week, in fact, just to kind of try and head this off a little bit. So I'll address this very shortly, but what happens is we expect that people will take the FoodSens Generation 4, put the sensor into the device, put a drop of their sample onto the device, and then effectively hit start almost immediately on the device. Whoops daisy. But what's happening here, or maybe what's happening sometimes, is people are actually delaying hitting start on the app. So in fact the sample is sitting on the sensor, and if that's the case, then I'm going to describe that yes, that is a source of error or irreproducibility. So we have changed the instructions for use, at least electronically, so when they next go to the printer, the instructions for use will be a bit more precise on this particular line item. We do expect people to actually put the sample on and hit go on the app, but we realize we may need to make that a little bit more explicit. Okay, so what's going on here? We've got the FoodSens Generation 4. It's a pretty cool device. It comes with chili sensors or capsaicin sensors, and we put the sample on there, and then we expect, people to hit start, so that the measurement takes place. Now I have seen it a few times, and then with this particular, somebody reached out to us this week, we realized we have to make this a bit more explicit, so we are going to do that now. Now what's happening is that the capsaicin is in that sample, and capsaicin is an organic molecule that absolutely loves to get and stick to surfaces. So we've got a sensing zone, and the capsaicin, if you leave the sample standing, will move to the sensing zone and start sticking essentially to our sensor. So it's essentially enriching itself. So the longer you leave the sample there without hitting start, then the more enrichment of capsaicin on the sensor we will get, and the higher the signal. So we are expecting you to put the sample on there, not wait, just as quickly as you can press start. We appreciate that some people don't really realize that, and we understand what we understand, and so we'll get the IFU, the instructions for use, changed. But the root cause of this is that if you leave the sample sitting there, capsaicin, an organic molecule, loves to stick to surfaces, and it will actually start to absorb onto the surface. And somebody's done a bit more of a quantification of this. So what they've done is what I'm plotting here is Scoville Heat Units versus time. So if they put a sample on there and they wait something like 10 seconds, then they get an approximate 6,000 Scoville Heat Units. If they wait 30 seconds, they get an approximate 9,000 Scoville Heat Units. Which is an increase of 40%. So yeah, okay, I get it. Because it's what we would want is that the delay between putting the sample on and hitting start, in my opinion, is really no more than 5 seconds. So you can appreciate that here. The signal has changed significantly because actually they waited 30 seconds. Now they do take it to an extreme and leave it there for 60 seconds, and then they take it to an extreme and take it to 165. Sorry, take it to 120 seconds. So the root cause is that you put the sample on there, it's got capsaicin, the capsaicin starts enriching on the surface. So when you hit start after 30 seconds, you are actually testing an enriched sample, because the capsaicin comes to the sensor. The longer you leave it, essentially the more enrichment takes place. The fix is that we did expect people to put a sample on there and do it within 5 seconds. We realized that isn't necessarily clearly communicated, so we have changed the instructions for use, and we're also making this video to make sure people are aware of this. There's a fundamental root cause to this, and that's because of the organic nature of capsaicin. Now, when you look at this data, you actually get quite a flat line, and then it starts to plateau off. This is a real classic absorption signal. So it's absorbing. That's the capsaicin with time, and then it starts to plateau off because effectively you're saturating it. So it isn't a good idea to put the sample on there and delay, because you will get a error, and the error is, as you can see, proportional to time. So we wouldn't want you to actually wait a lot of time. So I think really in conclusion, we acknowledge the data. We would say that we would want people to put the sample on there and hit start almost immediately on the app, because you're correct, organic molecule like capsaicin will start enriching on the surface. So put the sample on there, hit start as quickly as you can. We could come up with an automatic start, and we have to sort of think this through. What I mean by an automatic start is that, in fact, the start is initiated by putting the sample on there. We haven't done it because there's sometimes unforeseen consequences of just making changes, but that could be something that we could end up doing. If you are a FoodSens Generation 4 user and you've got any questions, then please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Okay, thanks very much.